Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Colleen Hoggarth of
Security House Accounting.
So we are in the Broadmead area. So we're north of downtown Victoria. We're about halfway to the airport. You moved here from Lansdowne Estates in Cedar Hill Crossroad. When did you move?
We moved here about 5 years ago.
Really? Was that long ago?
It has been that long, yes. It's hard to believe, yes.
So what prompted the move?
Our home in Uplands Estates was amazing, but it had lots of stairs to it, and we had, my husband had knee replacement, and that really doesn't go well with the flights of stairs, so we decided that we wanted a one-level home, and our realtor at the time brought us out here, and it was just perfect. It's like living in a treehouse here.
That's what we call our house too.
I know, I've been to your house, and it is truly a treehouse. Yeah, it's amazing.
So you are on the 5th floor. You're looking east over the water here. We'll show everybody the view. What's it like?
Well, I will tell you that my husband and I spend every evening when we get home from work sitting on our balcony watching the ships pass and enjoying the view. It's just amazing. It truly is. And there's something about water that just calms you at the end of a really rushed day. Yeah, it couldn't be nicer.
So you have a super powered telescope. Are you able to see whales?
We have not seen whales, unfortunately not, but we watch the ships to see who's cruising by, and it's really neat to see the odd cruise ship go through the passage here. The way the condo is situated, we're on an angle, so we actually get a wide view out, so we can see downtown, and we can actually see the lights on the cruise ships when they hit downtown in Ogden Point.
So you've been living here 5 years. Was it hard to transition? I know you originally lived in Eastern Canada. So when did you move out west?
So we moved here in 2008, and it was an interesting transition moving from Ontario here to the West Coast. You think living in Canada, everything would be the same from province to province, but it is quite different. Nuances, not extremes, but nuances. And of course, going from from snow to no snow was quite exciting. We actually don't have snow boots here. So last year was a bit of a challenge when we did get that dump of snow in February. The living where we were originally in Uplands Estates, it was quite nice. It was an easy transition from a family home to that unit. And then coming here has been another easy transition. It's been a natural progression, being empty nesters and not having kids around. So,
was it easy to meet people?
That's challenging because I go out to work every day. And so it's not neighbors that I'm meeting, but usually business colleagues. And the people in this building they're wonderful. They've been very friendly. Very welcoming to us, and we enjoy meeting everyone here.
So if somebody's new to Victoria, what do you recommend that they do to introduce themselves to the community?
Get involved. Absolutely get involved with everything you possibly can to get to know folks.
So are we talking professional? I find there are a lot of professional networking groups, and then there's also a lot of ways to exercise.
That is true. And for me, it was almost at the same time that we moved out here that I started my own business. And it was through networking that you and I met. And a lot of my great friends that I have now are through all those activities that I undertook. And being a relatively shy person, to go out and network was very challenging. And it it worked. I met you. I met lots of folks that I really enjoy spending time with now as a result of doing that.
So I notice also you have a dog.
I do. Ricky. She is the chief cuddle officer at Security House, and she makes our life a whole lot nicer. It was one of the reasons for wanting to move too. This building is pet friendly to a certain extent, and she is the absolute perfect condo living dog. She's just about 5 pounds, and she has been trained to go outside on the balcony. She has her own little station out there, and she still likes to announce people that are in the hallways, and she does not like the deer that we have here. So there's a family of deer that like to hang out just below our balcony, and the whole building knows when they are out there. She lets them know, but she seems to think at 5 pounds she needs to protect me from them.
My dog's the same way. She puts her head on the windowsill. I see you have low windowsill. Same thing.
Yes.
So she's like, and at night she'll be growling. I'm like, Ginger, enough.
Yes, that's true. Ricky actually she can run almost around the whole entire front of the condo, watching people, dogs, deer, whatever, and going from one windowsill to the next windowsill to the next windowsill. So it's quite humorous, and we're very fortunate that the people in the building are very tolerant of her. So,
did you find it hard to find a dog-friendly condo?
Yes. They're not plentiful for sure. There were 2 requirements when we were moving, and one was that it was dog friendly, and one that it had the ability to have a barbecue. I can't imagine life without being able to barbecue. So we were able to find this, which has I think a super large balcony to hold my husband's pride and joy.
His man cue. His
man cue, yes. And then a few years after we've been here, we got Ricky, and she settled in quite nicely.
So we actually compiled a list of all the dog-friendly condos in the city. And the reason why this is important is because the basic rules of the strata are 1 dog and 1 cat, but sometimes they amend them to no dogs, no cats, or whatever. I think it's a mistake.
I agree. I think that having the flexibility of a pet, having the requirement to maintain or be a responsible pet owner, I think is still important. Like that it needs to be written into the bylaws in such a way that people are required to be those responsible pet owners. I'm fortunate because I work for myself. Ricky gets to come to work with me pretty much every day. We do have her go out to doggy daycare a couple of days a week. I can't, that still floors me that I say doggy daycare, but she enjoys it. She plays with her friends and gets tired out, and then she comes to the office the next day.
And I find actually a lot of offices are very amenable to having dogs.
I think that they are. I think it was Sydney put out a map, or the Saanich Peninsula did, of dog-friendly offices and businesses, which I think is important. More and more pets are just part of your family, and you want to be able to take them with you. I know with Ricky, she's been trained to travel in a bag, a carrier, and she is quite happy to be in the backseat of the car and will go wherever we go. And we did this way so that she would fly on an airplane with us. And we have taken her several times to Winnipeg, where our daughter lives.
So what do you do with that when you fly with the dog?
So her bag just fits underneath the seat in front of you, and we can't take her out of the bag, and she has to be in there. When we go through security, I hold her just like I would hold a baby and go through security, and they test your hands, and they have gotten to know us a little bit, I think, in the Victoria airport, because there's one fellow said the last time I went through, he says, "Hey, I remember her."
The dog.
The dog, not me, the dog.
So what about if the dog has to go to the washroom?
Oh, she's trained not to. She will hold it forever. As I said, she's been trained to only use the pee station on the balcony, and it's almost a challenge to get her to pee on a walk. She just doesn't work the same way other dogs do. But yeah, no, she's fine. And I found Winnipeg, when you arrive there, they actually have a pet place right outside the terminal. So as soon as we exit, we take her out there, but she's too excited just to be out of her carrier then. So, yes.
She's awfully cute too.
She is pretty sweet, yes.
So let's talk about living in this area. Where do you go to eat?
So we have two favorites. In Broadmead Village, there is Artisan Bistro, and we absolutely love that. And then the Beach House in Cordova Bay, both are about the same distance away. And the Beach House, of course, is lovely for its views over the water. And Artisan has very, very good food. Well, both have great food, but yeah, they're awesome.
What do you do for doggy walking?
So we're fortunate here on top of the hill that there are numerous amounts of trails. So Andy, my husband, has been out exploring with Ricky, and she just absolutely loves wandering around the top of the mountain here and sniffing things out and digging holes. And there's a bench partway along their walk, and they sit and have a view. And yeah, it's quite exciting for him to be here and be able to get out and do that with her.
One of the things when I've showed this condo is people have said they didn't like the fact that it was at the top of the hill. Do you find, like in the winter, does it get icy up here?
No, I think that and I'm only guessing, but the road itself, the private road coming up here, I think that they ran all the utility services underneath the road, so it carries some warmth with it, which automatically melts or keeps it ice-free. There's not, other than last year in February when we got that enormous amount of snow, it took us 2 attempts to get up. And then we were here for 24 hours until we got plowed out. But yeah, it was fine.
What about grocery shopping?
Well, my husband does that. And
yay.
Yes, yay. I feel that he sometimes is having a thing with one of the checkout ladies at the Thrifties down below in Broadmead Village, because he's there every day.
I'm there every day. They're quite nice people, though.
They are very nice people, but I do tease him a lot about that.
So Thrifties was locally owned, and then they were bought out by Sobeys.
Yes, that's correct.
Have you found a difference since they were bought out?
No, not particularly. I do find that they have more of the items that we found in Sobeys in Ontario, which is kind of interesting to see some of those products here.
I find that they're moving more to an automated checkout system.
Yes, I don't care for that.
Me either. The whole point is you check in with people.
That's right. Where's the conversation, the community, if you're checking yourself out? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I can see from a business perspective that it probably is going to save them some money, but at the end of the day, I think it costs the community by not having that face-to-face interaction.
I agree, and I think also it takes away, the personality of the store, because that's the person who you're interacting with.
I agree. And I think, and I know from us using this Thrifties in Broadmead, that the people there are just wonderful, and they have made a great job of hiring. I was wandering around the store the other day looking for something for baking, and a fellow obviously recognized that I was completely lost and said, "Can I help you?" And I went, "Yes, you can." And I think that that's wonderful to have that personal service.
Yeah, and actually the other day I was in line at the Thrifties in Admirals, and there was a man with 2 young kids, and one of them was crying his face off. But the ladies at the counter went and got them fruit to give them as a treat.
That's amazing. I think that's wonderful that people, you can have that sense of community, that you can do that. And I think that's wonderful.
So do you go out for entertainment?
Not so much. Usually it's a dinner out. We're fortunate that our son lives here, so we get to see him and his girlfriend. And it's usually home here. I don't like, horrible to say, but I don't like leaving Ricky here alone by herself. I know she's a dog, and I'm sure someone out there is going to say, OMG, but yes, that's the truth. And usually my husband and I both have busy careers, so we enjoy the quiet time here ourselves.
And it is really quiet right here.
It is wonderfully quiet here, yes.
Okay, well, if you want more information about the Broadmead area, you can contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. But stay tuned, because we're going to be back in 1 minute with Colleen. We're going to be talking about her business, which is Security House Accounting and...
as soon to be known as Freedom Accounting.
Awesome. Okay, take care, and we'll be right back.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Colleen Hoggarth, and the name of your company, which was Security House Accounting, is changing to
Freedom Accounting.
And why is that?
I felt that our tagline is, give us your books, take back your life, and that Security House didn't really fit with that. And we're coming up to our 8th year. We're just finishing our 7th year in business, and I thought now's the time. So we went on a mission to determine what the best name that resonated with what we want to project to our clients. And we came back with Freedom Accounting. And so Freedom Accounting, give us your books, take back your life, seems to just go together. It was meant to be.
Okay, and you have some other news with that.
I do. So as of January as well, we will be joining forces with Wise Financial in Shawnigan Lake. Gay Wise has been in business longer than I have, but our practices are very similar in nature. And Gay has decided that... And we've been friends for years. Since I started I think Gay was the first other bookkeeper I met here, and we've been friends since then, and often lean on each other for help or consultation on various issues, and it just made sense that we come together, and we've developed at Security House some great processes and procedures. So we're going to pick those up and take them to Shawnigan Lake and help Gay work her way into our fold as well.
So do you find, well, first of all, who's your ideal client?
Our ideal client is, well, I guess there's a couple, several. We like to work with people who want to be knowledgeable about the financial end of their business. We deal with the books and records, and we deal with the minutia, the paper, ensuring all of their deadlines are met with CRA, Canada Revenue Agency. But also we want to sit down with them so that they can see how they're doing. Not only is there money in the bank, but are you, what's the pricing like? Have you got the right pricing for your product or service? And looking at the financial or the financing of the business, are you underfinanced? Are you overfinanced? Should you be looking to make sure you're paying down that outstanding debt? And then from a tax perspective, looking at it from a personal tax point of view, do we have the best compensation package for you going forward? So that's one side. And then the other is our personal tax clients that we look after every year. And to me, I enjoy tax season. There's a lot of accountants and bookkeepers out there that absolutely dread tax season coming, but I'm the one dancing around the office in January when we're all back from the holidays going, woohoo, it's tax season. And I look forward to seeing all of our tax clients back every year. And this past year, we did almost 1,000 personal tax returns. And it's so much fun. I enjoy meeting everyone and hearing from year to year what's happened with them. And I know our clients are going to be very excited to come back and see pictures of my new grandbaby. So I have to make sure I get a few blown up for the office.
So that's a nice point that that you're connecting on a personal level as well as a business level.
Absolutely. There's no point in being in business if you can't connect on a personal level. I enjoy every single client that we work with. There isn't anyone in our client base that I wouldn't want to see outside of the office, that they're my kind of folks.
So what are typical ahas that people have after they sit down with you and go over their books?
Usually it's the fact that when we look at an income statement, it's important because it shows your income and expenses. But the flip side is people don't put as much emphasis on the balance sheet. And that tells a big story as well. That's your assets and liabilities. And it's important to see, if you've got $10,000 sitting in the bank and you've got $20,000 in accounts payable, that could be a problem. So you have to, work your way through that. How are we going to deal with the fact there's not enough cash to pay those short-term liabilities?
It's really a question of cash flow, isn't it?
It is. Cash flow is king. Yeah.
And the business follows the cash.
It does. It does. And if you're in as my business is, a seasonal type business where you have that upswing in tax season where you have to then staff up for it, and then you have to staff down for it for the rest of the year. You need to look at that in every single business. Do you have a seasonal situation? And I know with our retailers, we have a certain retailer that is not, their business isn't all surrounded by holidays the way normal businesses are. So we're always encouraging him to make sure that he's not got so much in inventory that he is carrying that through his slow period over the winter. And so he's now very cognizant of that to make sure that that doesn't happen.
And how do you do that with him? You're just looking at the cash flow over 12 months.
Exactly. And, historically, it's great when you've built up your relationship with the client so that you can see historically how that cash flow has been, not only in the past year, but the year before that, potentially the year before that. And it's always fun for me to look at comparative financial statements. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to numbers. And I love to be able to sit down with a client and have the 2-year comparative sitting there, and we can say, wow, look at how much your business has grown over the last year.
So what do you think is the biggest mistake because there's quite a high failure rate for new business owners, what's the biggest mistake that they make?
Well, I'd have to say not hiring a professional bookkeeper, certified professional bookkeeper. It's so often people think that it's just bookkeeping, I can do it myself. But if you have a bookkeeper that knows their stuff, they can pay for their weight in gold. Just by being on top of the cash flow, if they can project out and envision where you're going to run into a hiccup down the road. And that saves a lot of angst for the business owner if that can be seen.
So is there some ratio of income to inventory?
Yes, so inventory plays into the cost of sales. So your expense that you incur to bring that in. And inventory is the amount of product that you have that is unsold sitting on your shelves. So inventory on your balance sheet is always at cost. You want to then look at the income statement to see what your gross margin is. So that's when you take your income less your cost of sales, and what's that number as a ratio to sales. And that also then generates the income to pay your overhead expenses. So at the end of the day, your sales, when you work it all backwards, has to account for not only your overheads, the cost of the product, but the profit that you want to see at the end of the day. And that's where ensuring pricing is done correctly up front.
Do you find people do business plans?
Not as often as they should. I think a larger business that has the capacity to spend the time to do that will. I think smaller businesses, we're all just sort of pedaling as fast as we can, and maybe it's not a priority. But I think it's helpful if they go out and source someone that can do a business plan for them. And it's also helpful to have that document then updated as you go along, so that it's current and fresh. And your business changes. Like it used to say it took 3 to 5 years for a new business to sort of feel like it was settled and ready to go. I'm now thinking that's stretching to 7.
Really? Why? Because of online shopping and stuff?
Not necessarily online shopping, but a different way of doing business now. Online is in every aspect, not only shopping. In our own business, we're changed from the data entry where you had the piece of paper in front of you, you entered it, you hit the postage stamp, and you flipped it over and did the next one. And now with you're using an app on your phone where you take pictures of receipts, and that feeds into an online piece of software. So
I love it.
Yes, you do. And I think it's not for everyone just yet. It's not, there are still certain businesses that I feel they could use partially that, depending on the size and the type of business it is. And that's what we do. And we look at the businesses to see what's going to work best for them. You are technology forward. You love your phone. It's an extension of your hand. Others are...
Well, the other thing is, to me, it's a funnel. So I have like multiple sources. I just scan everything as it happens and it goes right in. So I don't have to worry about the paper.
You're absolutely right. but others are not as technology forward as you and are uncomfortable with that circumstance. So I don't want them to have the angst of having to deal with a piece of technology that they're not comfortable with.
So do you give them a big shoebox?
No, we give them a green folder, as you used to use in the beginning. And then they get it back at the end of, after everything has been posted, and they can take home and file their paper in a filing cabinet. And that's what people are comfortable with as well. So you can't dictate to people how they should be doing this. We find the way that's going to work best for everyone.
I think I brought you into online stuff because I was using Dropbox.
You are correct. You are one of the first that we had on Dropbox. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I always surprise people when I'm at a convention or something. And literally, like, I'll have dinner, I'll scan my receipt, I'll label it, travel dinner, and then email it off, and it's done. Perfect.
It is. It's absolutely perfect. I do the same for myself now, too.
So, I'm just wondering, so tell me about your news about what's happening this year with you in your professional capacity. You're on a board or something?
That's correct. I am chair of the Institute of Professional Bookkeepers of Canada. I've been a member, a certified professional bookkeeper, and a member of the organization for 7 years. When we were starting the business, my husband said to me, "You need to belong to an association." I said, "You go figure it out. Tell me what I need to do." So he researched and he came back and he said, "This is the group for you." And I said, "Okay." So I joined and wrote their exam, and then critiqued the exam to a few of the other members, which of course, as soon as you're in a volunteer capacity and you're in an organization such as they were, that gave you the job. So I worked with 4 other amazing ladies, and we formed the first education committee, and we rewrote that exam that first year. And it became much more relevant to the organization. Well, since then, it has been changed so that you are now can be anywhere in your bookkeeping career and join IPBC through our tier levels. So we have tiers 1 through 4, and tier level 4 is a certified professional bookkeeper. I'm also fortunate that several years ago I was awarded an FCPB, which is a fellowship, and that recognized my work within the organization. And I very proudly display that. I think it's amazing to be part of this group, and I want every bookkeeper to be certified. I think it really resonates with the community that you're that step above everyone else.
So is it national?
It is national. We actually have a member in Yukon now.
How many members total?
We're 1,500 members across the country.
And what's happening in 2020?
In 2020, we're hosting our bookkeeping conference here in Victoria called Ignite 2020. And there will be somewhere between 300 and 500 bookkeepers from across Canada descend on Victoria at the end of September for 3 days at the convention center. And I couldn't be happier to be the chair and hosting it here in Victoria in my town.
Are you guys doing anything for fun?
For fun, it will be our sponsors usually create some fun for us. So we'll be anxiously awaiting to see what that happens.
So I've always wondered, what would a room full of bookkeepers do? Discuss money.
Actually, we have a ton of fun. Last year, on the Thursday evening, it was a hosted social event, which was a dance party. And we're predominantly women, although we do accept men into the group, and they tolerate us. But it was a fantastic time. Yeah, lots of people up dancing and carrying on to the music of our day, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, actually, I went to a conference that you and I are aware of, You Women Network, and I remember going with this woman. She's like, "I don't want to go into a party with just women." But you know what? You kind of are able to let your hair down.
Oh, absolutely let your hair down. And some of the best stories have come out of some of those parties. And there is a ton of educational component that happens during the day, but the evenings are where we let our hair down. And I wouldn't say there's no competition amongst us, but there is such a support through IPBC with all of our members supporting other members. And I think it's it's just amazing. And so part of that is that we are online in touch through Facebook groups or video chats or whatever throughout the year. And then once a year, we get to come together for face-to-face meetings. My friend Marge and I, we only see each other at conference. And every year I'm going, I can't believe it's 12 months till I see you again. But we make the best of it. It's truly a good time.
Yeah, I found that in my business too. Just connecting with people. Once you're face to face, you get to know the nuances, and then the ongoing professional and personal development by continuing with the group.
Absolutely, that's so true.
Okay, so how do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can get a hold of me through the office. We're located at 766 Hillside Avenue between Blanchard and Nanaimo Street. And through my email, which is just Colleen at freedomaccountinginc.com.
Okay, so if you want more information, if you need your bookkeeping done, or if you need some party advice, you can contact Colleen. If you want more information about the Broadmead area, you can contact me. And don't forget to check us out if you can't view us online at VancouverIslandTime.com. We're also on your favorite podcasting channel. So tune in to iTunes, tune in iHeartRadio, whatever you want to listen to, we're there. All right, take care and welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.